Hi there. Are you there? Happy Sunday night. Okay. I think I cleared the wheel path there. So, no, I'm not starting a new show on Sunday night. I want to do a mic test because this is a new mic that was sent in as a gift to the Christmas room to me from Howl. And I used it on Friday. And when I did the rewind, when you watch the show back, I could hear radio interference coming in kind of like in a gurgly fashion underlying the whole thing. And a couple of people mentioned it. Sammy mentioned it. I think Randy mentioned it. And when I spoke with Hal on the phone Saturday, the day after, the first thing that Hal said is, did you do a frequency scan? Because it's a wireless UHF mic. UHF mic is a high-end mic. I said, oh yeah, no, what is that? A frequency scan. He says, you have to scan your room and look and see if you're on the frequency that's a clear frequency, because you don't know what's on that frequency. Don't forget, these things come from China, and if they come from China, it's the clear frequency for them, but you're not in China. And he's right, I'm not in China. Did you know I wasn't in China? Did you think I was in China all this time? So anyway, we went through doing a frequency scan together on the phone, and lo and behold, it's set to a different frequency now. So not even close. So he was absolutely 100% correct. I don't know if I readjusted the volume, so I'm just doing a quick check now. Testing 1, 2, 3. I think the volume sounds good. Is there anybody in here with me? Oh, Scotty's here. Roy's in here. Anyway, let's see. If the volume sounds good, I don't remember if I did change the volume or not. So that is something that maybe, I guess I'll get some feedback from you guys if the volume changed or not. So we did a frequency scan, and it arrived at a new frequency, and that tells me that the frequency that I was on was probably not a good frequency for where I'm using the mic system now. So while I was on the phone with him, we did go live, a private, and he listened. He says, I don't hear any radio interference now at all. So that is, I wanted to test it because I did another frequency scan because I didn't remember how to do it. Now I know how to do it. You press the set button and hold it for 2 seconds. This is not that relevant for anybody, but you hit the set button and hold it for 2 seconds, and it'll do a frequency scan. All right. Then you have to match that new frequency, because obviously this lab mic needs to communicate with the base station. So the base station was no longer communicating. So you use the set button again. I'm saying this out loud because you know what? I'm hoping it'll register down into my mind. You just tap the set button while you hold the base that's in my pocket. Oh, the base is in my right pocket. Hal said put the base in my left pocket. Okay, there's my first mistake. It's supposed to be in my left pocket. Well, I'm right-handed. So when I put the base station in, I put it in my right pocket. Well, anyway, if we hear radio interference, we'll have to change it over and test that. But I'm not going to get up and do all that. But I can get up and walk around. Let's see if it actually increased my distance. Okay, so what happens is normally I'll get out of the room. So now I'm passing the fan. You might hear more noise. So I'm out of the room, and I'm in the big family room, which is the next room out of the office. Actually, ironically, this was the original Christmas room that I started with the live broadcasts. When was it? 2017, 2018? Back then. And now I'm walking back into the Christmas room, which is technically an office, and it has become a complete studio. I do have a desk in the corner. So we'll see if it dropped out. Either you guys can tell me, or I am going to listen to the replay, the rewind on this, okay? Because I'm curious to see if that radio interference is gone, okay? I don't think there's anything else I can do unless I do another scan if it's a fail. Oh, we got some people in here. Surprise! I am very surprised on Sunday night. So did you see the show from the beginning? I'm not starting a Sunday night show, okay? I did want to test the new mic because it's exciting. I get the mic that's a lapel mic. It's a wireless mic. It's at UHF channel levels, meaning it's a higher end microphone. It also has so that I can sing. So I could sing using a handheld. All of this in one system. Thank you, Howl. What a blessing. Okay. But it had a RF noise that was going at the bottom. It was going. That's like a radio interference noise, radio frequency, RF noise. Okay. I can't stop it from adding its own bass noise, okay, but I definitely should not have radio interference noise. So we did a scan, which is, he asked me right off the bat. I'm repeating myself because I noticed there's a lot of people commenting now, so maybe you weren't watching from the beginning. So he said, why, Peter, did you do a frequency scan to see what frequency to use in the Christmas room? I said, why, no, Hal, I don't even know what that is. So anyway, we did that. You push buttons and you, it on its own, I don't have any input into the matter. It will find a frequency that's clear and stop on that frequency automatically. That's what's different. So Friday night, if you just listen to a few minutes of the broadcast on Friday night, you can hear the frequency at the bottom. And then Hal stepped me through it where I did find a clear channel and it stopped there, and that is where we're broadcasting from. Now, I didn't check if that affected the other microphone. So let's turn. All right, so now this is the handheld mic where I talk in here. So I did not do a frequency scan on this one. Uh-oh, but I didn't hear noise when I was singing. So let me be quiet for one quick second. So the meter shows absolutely no noise when I was quiet. Not even a little boop, you know. So that means this should be quiet. So if I sing on here, we'll sing in the sunshine and I'll be on my way. That's what it sounds like when I sing. So let's go back to the other mic. All right, so this mic is the lapel mic. So let's do the silence test on here. I did not do a silence test. I just found a frequency that was supposed to be clear. Okay, well, I'll try to be quiet. It's hard to get the Peter to be quiet, okay? Dead silence. You know, there's a meter in there. I'll show you, okay? I will show you. There's a meter. If I go to the live demo mode, okay, so you could see my face in the center, okay, then you could see the comments next to me, which would be that way for you guys. All right, so there's the comments, okay. Now look down below the comments. You see the meter talking? Every time I say a word, hello, you see it goes up and hits the yellow, hello. Now I'm going to be quiet and it should go down and register either nothing or almost nothing. Now Peter needs to be quiet. It stays completely silent. So we didn't have that. Friday night, it stayed up maybe 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I know it's annoying. I'll turn off the demo mode. All right. It stayed up almost 1/4 of an inch, showing me, and it bounced. Like, it wasn't a steady tone, like a doop. It was You know. So we're on the new frequency. That's the purpose of this whole thing. I'm just saying it a lot so that I could talk a little bit and then play it back and see what it sounds like. So, ironically, for an just pop up out of nowhere show, what are you guys doing? Well, it is Sunday night. You should be getting ready for tomorrow. Happy Sunday, still celebrating Nina's birthday. Well, that gives me a good excuse to be able to use this mic. Thanks, Scotty. I appreciate it. I knew Scotty would come through for me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Nina. Happy birthday, dear Nina. Happy birthday to you. How old are you now? How old are you, Nina? How old are you on your birthday? Happy birthday to you. All right, so I got to, let's turn it off so I don't kill the battery. They are AA batteries. And I am known for forgetting them on. I come back, gee, it's not working. Well, I don't know why, Peter. You left the battery running. Well, what can I tell you? So thanks, Scotty. That gave me the opportunity to use the other mic. And Roy is here, and he's saying I'm not here. Ooh, contradictory in terms. Off to see the quack. So I don't know what that means. I'm guessing the doctor. Okay. Here's my big boy, Sammy. Hi, Sammy. How are you doing? If you sent me something new, I'm not aware of it. I'll check after I get off. I was busy playing with the mics. And then I wanted to settle in. It is Sunday. It's supposed to be the day of rest. And I want to see if I could find a cool movie. My brother last night was watching, not last night, Friday night while I was live, he was watching Pollyanna. Okay. That's a great movie to watch over and over. I mean, not like 100 times in a row, but once every few years. So I might try and hunt that down. I think my buddy Marlon, who's he's not here anymore. I think his Disney is here, and Pollyanna was here, and so George was using it. Hello, so thank you to Marlon for Pollyanna. So that's Sammy, and Sammy's saying hello to everybody. And oh, I saw you on Facebook. Calling yourself Bluebeard now. Sounds great, Peter. And howdy. How are you doing? This is the famous Bob Asbury. He's a friend. He's been with me for a long time. Just because somebody doesn't come in for a couple of weeks doesn't mean they're gone. Now, some people, I can name some names, haven't come in for maybe 2 years, 3 years. That's different, okay? But, you know, Friday nights, sometimes it's hard. You take your best girl out on a Saturday night. Well, some of us do it 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. But thanks for coming in and saying hi, Bob. I appreciate you. I love you, buddy. Sammy says, I still hear a little interference. Unless I scan again, Sammy, I'm out of ideas. And House of Blanchard. Is this Michael? He's got an M over there. Haircut looking good, Peter. Thank you. I did cut my hair. You noticed. By golly, you noticed. I love you, Michael. If you're Michael, or whoever you are, but if you're Michael, I definitely love you. He goes back, I would say maybe 10, longer. 10 years would be 2016. No, it's got to be longer. When my mother died, he sent me a big, wonderful fruit basket. So that had to be 2010. So we're talking 10, 16, 17, maybe 18 years that I know Michael. Michael's from the Northeast. He's a world famous photographer. I'm not going to embarrass him or anything, but he's not at my level. He's like way up here and I'm way down here. But I love him anyway, and anytime I call him, he'll pick up the phone. So he's not one of those people that, oh, I got famous, so I'm ghosting you, you know. So he was one of the photographers at a wedding that happened at the White House. So that's how we're talking way up high. You don't get selected to go to the White House to shoot a wedding unless you're in. Okay? Unless you're in a very high company. So I'm saying that just to blow his horn. Everybody likes to hear their horn blown. But I really love him. He's amazing. I have Christmas cards from him here. When we go to the other camera and you see the tree going round and round, he sent me a bag of little lights that go in those empty holes, because that's a tree my mother did in ceramic class. And it was in the garage all wrapped up in newspaper, so I took it out, I dusted it off, and I put it here. I can't use the light at the bottom inside because it goes round and round on the turntable. So if it goes round and round, guess what? The wire is going to slowly get wrapped up and okay. So unless I find a wireless LCD light bulb to put in there, those are not going to light up. But he saw it, he noticed it, and he put a bag of the little, I don't know what you call them, they slide into a slot. Okay, so when this changes in a minute, I might be able to get a picture of that from the Sony. Yeah, see the tree over there? Right there? All right, you can see the orange light, but all those holes are now filled up with colored inserts. Wow, don't I sound professional? I put color inserts in my ceramic tree. I didn't have that word 40 seconds ago, so don't be giving me too much credit. Okay, so anyway, I need to find a light bulb that I can put in that tree, because as it's going round and round, obviously you cannot be connected into the wall plug, because as you can see, I have it on a turntable. But I think it would add a little color in that area if I find a bulb. So anybody, my email's in the description below if you know, or send me an Amazon gift certificate, hint, 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 in the description below. I need it's got to be bright enough to light those things. So it needs to be the equivalent of a 100 or 200 watt light bulb, and it needs to last, how long do I stay on? 2 hours at the most, although I've been known to go longer. So we'll be doing that. But thank you, Michael, if you're even still around, because some people pop in and take off. Okay, but I'm so happy with when I see him. So Sammy says it does sound better. Well, this is as gooder as I can get it. And I do, if I'm quiet for a second, it shows dead silence. So either we're getting air from a fan, which is possible, but I don't have the fan on high. I'm glad I have the fan on. Okay, so that's about, that's what, at least that radio interference by the sound of you guys sounds to be gone, which is good. All right, sounds a bit better, but there's a little noise in the higher frequency. There may be a way to cut it out with EQ. Let's see where I have that. I can lower my high-end EQ. Do I have a high-pass button? I'm looking for a high-pass button, which would cut out. There's a button here. Let's see what it does. All right. That might be a high-pass button. It might not. If it got better, you better let me know, because I don't know what that button does. Yes, it's got an 80 and a flat line. So now the button is off with the 80 and the flat line. Pay attention. 3, 2, 1, press. Okay, now that button, whatever it is pressed. Now I'll be quiet and see if that helped. Still goes down to absolutely no noise. So I'm not going to, I only have one other button I can use. Okay, we could try that button, is another possibility. So all I could do is press buttons at this point. I'm not going to reset the Christmas room. No way, Jose. I'm just thrilled that the meter is not jiggling around when I'm silent anymore. So Anthony is here. How are you doing, Anthony? Welcome, Peter and friends. Just stopped in to check and see what condition my condition's in. You guys remember that? Hey, 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 just stopped in to see what my condition was in. So anyway, hi Anthony, how's the kids? Because I love the picture with all the kids and everything. I know you're getting older ones now. They getting sassy on you yet? Are the older ones getting sassy and talking back to you? You know, you got to tell them you're not too big to put over my lap. Good spanking. You know, the bottom speaks volumes. They get too old for that. So Eric is, I hear a hiss. If there's a hiss in there now, I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to do about it. So I could play with it. Hi Sly. Sly is saying the singing mic is much louder than the lav. So it is set at 2 different pot levels. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Okay. So let's go over there. Well, before I do that, let's change something. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's still silent, and I need to know if we got a little more volume out of that. So it has a compression setting. Where are you? It has a compression setting, and it was set to 12 o'clock, while the singing mic is actually set to 5 o'clock. So I set the lav mic now to 5 o'clock, okay? So, but if it's still too loud, I might have to lower this one. But let's see if that made things a little more balanced. And if it does, then we fix that part. And am I running anything else? No, that's the only 2 things that I'm running right now. This chair is angled the wrong way. All right, that's better. Okay, so I did a change based on what Sly just said. 2 ways to remove the heads. I would recommend turning off your phone because it also gives a frequency, but also tell me what frequency range the microphone is. It's at 587. 587 on the UHF band. It found that frequency by itself. You push the scan button and it stops at a clear frequency. I could set that again. You know, I might do that just so that I remember how to do it. Okay, so let's try it. If it gets worse, Sammy, it's on you. All right, so I'm going to take this out of my pocket. You're going to lose me being able to talk to you for a second, all right? Because I'm going to set the frequency now. Okay, it should be back. Now it did change, it's 585.87. So now we're on a different frequency. It seems to like that 580 series because it went to 587. Once it was 582, now it's 585.87. So if that actually makes a difference, you guys are going to be the first to know. Now, let me do the being quiet test, because if the meter moves, there's sound coming through. Dead silent. All right. So if this got any better, we are on a new frequency, and I did remember how to do it. All right. That's the biggest thing. Sometimes you just don't remember. You've got something to do. Now, some of you guys got a great memory. My memory is perfect. That's just the way it is. I'm going to confess that, in in Jesus' name. So my buddy James is here. Love you, James. Thank you for coming in to say hello to me. And he says, It's Uncle Peter on a Sunday night. It's just like being in church. Yeah, you know, you're right. It's like being in church. Let's turn on the church mic. We'll call it the church mic. Okay? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I'm free. All right, all together now. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Well, now you've been to church, okay? And there we go. We'll do that. We'll turn on the other mic, turn off the reverb. And when we all sang together, we became a church. That's the way it is. It's when two or more are gathered in my name, says the Lord, I, Jesus, will be there in their midst. So whoever sang with me, Amazing Grace, bingo, you went to church with me tonight, okay? Thank you very much, actually. I appreciate that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to church. So that is pretty cool. So Sammy, we need a backing track for Amazing Grace, okay? So find one that sounds pretty my style, okay? Not to do boop 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 beep beep boop 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 chop pop boop boop caca beep 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 pop pop. Not those. I want Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. The choir's so pretty right now. And then I could play the music. I could sing. You guys can sing with me. And all we're missing is a preacher. So who wants to do the preach? Sammy? I've heard Sammy preach. Man, that boy could preach up a storm. So, no, I wouldn't put anybody on the spot. So, yeah, James, you brought us to church, buddy. What a good boy you are. You get one for you this week. Okay, Gregory is here. Hi, everybody. I think the mic has too much of a low end. Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking bass. That I can fix. Where are you? I can actually lower. It has, let's see, too much or too little? Too much. All right, so I took it from the bass at 12 o'clock. I brought it down to 10 o'clock. I say that so that I can remember where I started from when I listen and I go, oh no, Gregory was wrong. I liked it better before. All right, so now it's at 10 o'clock on the bass. All right, so if that sounds better, thank you, Gregory. If it doesn't sound better, oh, Greg, what'd you do? I appreciate that. Thanks. Love you, by the way. He says, I like your other mic better. Okay, but I'm giving Hal's new present a chance. The man went out of his way to buy me a mic. You got to remember that. That's quite important. So that's what we have. So you're talking about the mic that comes out here to my mouth? Is that the one? Now that's tethered, which means I cannot walk around. I can walk. I can go to the bathroom and do pee. Just remember to turn the mic off, okay, so you don't hear the noise. And I'll be embarrassed and my face would be really, really red. Okay, so I know you like the other one, but I'm going to give this one, a little bit of credit. The man went out of his way. Now, if you send me a mic, Greg, I will use the mic you send me. Okay, and let everybody tell you how wonderful you are. Because this is not a low 2.4, what's the frequency down there? 2.8, which is what my other mics Ceremonic, those are at 2.8. Those suckers will eat up noise from, I mean, if the guy next door puts his blender on. So this is UHF. So I haven't seen anybody say that it sounds better since I changed the frequency, did a new scan, but I didn't get to the bottom yet either. So, Gregory, tell Hal that he sent me a wonderful mic, okay? So we can give him a pat on the back for doing something so nice. James says it sounds like a Sennheiser 416. I don't know which model that is, but I do know Sennheiser. That's a pretty good comment, James. You want a hug? How about a high five? Or a fist bump? Okay, there we go. Bup, 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 bup. Sammy says, James, the 416 is $1,000, and I use that mic a lot. I could hear the difference. Wow, so that's a compliment coming from Sammy. That ain't bad. Okay, you're right, Sammy. It's a little fuller than the 416. It must be the that's when I start talking was another language there, James. Okay. Check the frequency on the mic. It's higher. If it's higher than 6,000, no, it matches. Okay, you have to sync them up, and that's what I was doing, and that's what Hal showed me, how to sync it up. It'll find a new frequency on the bass, but it won't be connected. What good would that do? So you actually have to sync it up. You push a button. You have to aim it at a window called IR, and when I do that, it doesn't make this noise. I'm doing it for effect. Okay. Beep, 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 and then suddenly it comes on that the radio has connected to the bass. So this is connected exactly at that frequency, or I would be talking this whole time and you would hear absolutely nothing. Boy, you're a tough crowd. Golly gee whiz, you're all, what do you call it? Audio experts. You all need to be in here with me, all right? What you're doing over there, I don't know. Is the mic going into a field recorder? No, it's going into Ecamm. That's how you're hearing it. So the mic is going into my board, which is a Yamaha mixing board, 12-channel mixing board. Okay, the mixing board is connected to an SSL2 preamp, and there's a reason for that. Otherwise, it would be going directly into the Mac. But it's going through the preamp board for a reason. Now the SSL2 preamp is it's the lowest noise level amp that you could find. You can't find a lower, it by itself does not add any noise. Okay, so it goes through that, and it does go through it for a reason. So if someone's about to recommend take it out of that, I'm not. It's staying in there for a reason. That's how I mix the music in, and that's how I send it to my Logic Pro. It all happens there, okay? So if I get rid of that, I reduce more than half of my abilities, and I like to sing. So I like to get tracks and sing. So that piece of equipment is very necessary. And then from there, it goes into the Mac, and it shows up on Ecamm. So now you know the entire audio chain. So, not a field recorder. I don't know if I have, yeah, I do have a field recorder. I have the DR10. Have you tested the new Mac Neo test on photo and video editing? The new Mac, I own Neo and I use it. So why did you say new, James? Can you explain that? Have you tested the new Mac Neo on the photo? So I do use Neo quite often. It's one of the few where you can adjust the face skin tones directly. It'll actually isolate the face. It'll actually make the face thinner if you want it to. That's very interesting. It will also change the sky it'll take out the sky and you can drop in a new sky. I could go out and get a beautiful sunset and take a picture of a palm tree in the other direction with a lot of sky, and Neo will let me take out the sky, and after I take out the sky, okay, I can replace it with my own sky or canned skies. It gives you like 10 different sky looks of a sky, clouds, heavy clouds, gray clouds. So I'm more curious why you said the new, because I believe if I open that up, I'll tell you in a second. If I open that up, Final Cut Pro, I'm looking for the Neo. All right, it would be over here where Photomator is. Duh. There's Photomator, Neo. All right, so let's open Neo. You're not going to see this. You're going to see me. But when I open up Neo, it is going to tell me if I need to upgrade or update. I don't know if it'll tell me which one I have. No, it didn't tell me. So let's see here what version I have. Then you can compare it to the one that you've got. I have version 1.26.1, and then there's a parentheses with a lot of numbers after that. So one more check I can do real quick, James, is see if it allows, if it needs any updates. Check for updates. Okay, so let's check for updates. You guys are looking at me. No, it says I'm up to date. So yes, I have used the, to answer your question, I have used the new Neo. The Luminar Neo, I'm going to turn it off now because I don't want to interfere. And so that should answer your question, Neo. I'm calling you Neo. That should answer your question, James. Okay, so Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian. Hey, Mr. Greg. Sean here from Trinidad and Tobago. It's been a long time. How you doing? I hope that all is well with you and your family. It is doing fine here, thank God. How are you doing? Thank you for coming in and saying hi. I'm kind of surprised we're getting people in here on an impromptu Sunday night show. That's mighty nice, don't you think? All right, guys, I'm not going to elongate this. I want to go find a movie and watch. I need to actually come back and give this a listen and see if I'm happy with this frequency, because I can have it rescan the frequencies as often as I want, you know. So, and I did pull out the book. I can actually pick a frequency, all right? So it seems the lower ones are kind of busy because it keeps picking the one up at, what did I say this one was? 5, it's hard to see with the light in my eye. 585, all right? And the handheld mic is at 560. So I got a feeling it's staying far away from the 560. But I don't see any 400s or early 500s. So the lav mic consistently pulls in at the 580 something, okay? I've never seen it go to 590 or anything higher. So that must be with where the clear area is here. Now, I can make it even quieter. Let me say hi to Patty. Hi, Patty. You sound good. Oh, Patty, you look good. You look so good. Thank you for coming in and saying hello, of course. And Uncle Peter, I think one of your song suites, one of your songs, something is live streaming. Oh, I hope not. Should not hear anything. That would be bad news. Explain that a little bit better, James. Okay. So, I hit it twice. That was my fault. My fault. Okay. So, there should be no interference. That would be an interference, James. I don't want no interference. I don't like interference. Get out of the line. All right, guys. Wanted to say hi. Now I think I've got a long enough sample where I can listen to it myself and see who's right and who's wrong, because you're not the only one that's going to listen. bing, rubber band, I've got to listen also. I feel like I'm in the need of some kind of a dessert, so I will go hunting around in the kitchen. I don't think I have ice cream. I don't think I have cake. I don't even think I have a candy bar. But I think somebody around here, like a brother named George, brought home a honeydew. Honeydew is like a cantaloupe, but green. I might cut that. I might cut that up. Okay. So let's see. Oh, James is saying strong suits. Okay, equals skills. Okay. Oh, so you were complimenting me. Oh, what a good boy you are. I'm just messing with you. I think one of your strong suits is live streaming. Well, you know, when I'm here with you guys, I'm pretty comfortable. Just about everybody that came in, I know who you are. We've talked here. Some people were a little more rowdy, and they're less rowdy now, and they realize I'm not really dangerous, and I'm not looking to cause a fight or to sound like a smartass. There's some people get online and they want to sound so smart. Well, I don't need to do that. Whatever I already know, I know, and what I don't know, I'm willing to learn. Okay, so getting on and talking with you guys is very, very comfortable. So that is something very nice. And that's why when I say I love you guys, I mean it in the friendship fashion, but it's more than just the friendship. You know, if I saw you in the street, I'd give you a hug. You know, it's not like, hey man, see you later. You know, what's up, dude? That's all kind of like a distance, where you keep somebody at a distance. You know, what's up, man? That is a very low, to me, could be different to you, all right? But when somebody goes, what's up, man? You know, or hey, bro. I mean, somebody was running around the block and I don't even know what house they were from. And I went like that, and he goes, what's up, bro? So I don't know the guy. I don't think I've ever seen him before. But if he was running in this area, he had to have been from somewhere around here. Okay. You guys are not at the what's up, bro, you know, what's up, man. That is so like I'm not interested. You know, either I want to say hello and leave, or I want something from you. Okay. And that's that level. Now, when you get a little friendlier, you use friendlier words. Some guys will get pissed off, you know, love you, but don't say that. That sounds so gay. Well, when I say love you, I'm not going to bed with you. I'm not interested in that type of plumbing, okay? I like another kind of plumbing. As one of the counselors that I was talking to, what your arousal algorithm tells you what it is that turns you on. And if it's the ones that pop up, then guess what? All right, that's the kind of guy you are. If it's the one that makes a big letter O, 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 it's magic, you know. All right, that is another type of an arousal algorithm. Well, that's my arousal algorithm. Give me a nice magazine, and I'm not talking National Geographic, okay? And I'm off and having a good time. So, see, with you guys, I could talk natural. I'm not being nasty. I'm not even being promiscuous. I mean, this is something that's a genuine thing for all males and all females, okay? Now, when you get nasty, it's a different topic, and we don't do that here. We're like family, children can participate and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to ignore that that's a part of life, just like eating ice cream, candy, cake, creme brulee, soft serve, Carvel ice cream, Dairy Queen. Okay, is that my mouth arousal? Yeah, I'm starting to drool. Okay, so you know there is a thing in the Bible that says we will not be given, when we get to heaven, we will not be given or taken in marriage in heaven. And a lot of preachers will preach on that, and they'll say, well, this shows that there's no sex in heaven. Well, I don't think that's what it shows, but that isn't the topic. That's not what I brought this up. But let's assume there's no sex in heaven, okay? Which is going to be kind of disappointing because it's one of the funnest parts of life, all right? But let's go with the assumption there's no sex in heaven. What else do you do where you make the same noises, you make the same faces, you make the same exclamations of how satisfied you are or how good it is? What else mimics the same thing as sex? Time's up, okay? It's food. And food is not a sexual thing. I could go out for dinner with James. I could go out with lunch with Sammy, and I can go, oh, that tastes so good. Oh, I want to share it. Here, Sammy, have a piece. Here, James, have a piece. You're doing the same thing that you do with sex, except with sex, you're doing it only with one person. So I think if those people are correct, which I don't think they are, okay? But if they're correct and there is no sex in heaven, I think that our senses are going to be raised so high. Don't think dirty, please. Think clean. Think about sharing what you share on a very intimate basis with your wife or whoever it is that you're having sex. But now you could share that without any kind of embarrassment or without any kind of intimidation with anybody and everybody. When you sit around the dinner table and you got a whole bunch of people going, oh my God, this is better than sex, okay? Or, oh my God, this rice pudding is absolutely, you need to taste it. Here, Joe, have some rice pudding. And you share and you make noises like you're having a big O, okay? And nothing is going on down below your neck. Well, maybe your esophagus, okay? And you're making the same, and I think that would be a possibility where you can not only share it with one person, you can share it with a lot of people. It's clean. There is nothing embarrassing. There's nothing taboo where like, oh, you know, when you have sex, it's private. It's in the privacy of your home. The door's locked. Usually, unless you're an exhibitionist, the shades are pulled. You don't want, it's something to do with you. Nobody else. Well, the partner that you're with, okay? But with food, you'll get around a dinner table with 20 people and a table of around, and it'll sound like they're all having orgasms at that table, okay? But there's no sex going on. So you take that, turn the volume up a lot higher, and I think that's going to be one of our amazing pleasures in heaven. When you look at the Gospels, the 4 Gospels, a lot of it is surrounding around food. When you look at the Bible as a whole, a lot of it is surrounding around food. What you can eat, what you can't eat, what God calls clean, don't you dare call it dirty. Okay, food, food, food. Communion is the highest form of food. You're eating the body and the blood of Jesus. And Jesus said, unless you eat my body and drink my blood, you will not have no part with me. That's communion. Well, are you going to eat his body and drink his blood? We're not cannibals. Jesus is not a pervert like we think like a pervert. Jesus thinks in clarity, honesty, purity, and in truth. So when he says something that sounds, you know, like unless you eat my body and drink my blood, or when he says, unless you pluck out your eye or cut off your hand, if your hand offends you, cut it off. Well, if we did that, the church would be full of amputees. Blind people and amputees. I have not gone to any church and see blind people and amputees by the hundreds. So he obviously didn't mean for you to be cutting your eye. That means cut the source out. If you can't stop looking at naked women, and it becomes a sin, he said to pluck your eye out. Well, don't do it, but cut off the source. Stop looking at naked women if it's causing you to sin. Stop looking at magazines if it's causing you a problem. Anything that's actually causing you a problem, and Jesus said, cut that source out. All right? So when he said you have to eat my body and drink my blood, that means you have to partake in what he did. It is Sunday. All right? Humor me. He says you have to partake of what he did for us at the cross. He died and his blood was shed. His body, okay, was speared. His body was taken and buried. When he gave communion, he said, he took the bread and he broke it, and he said, this is my body, broken for you. It was his body that was broken on the cross. His body wasn't broken until he got involved with us. When he got involved with us, all hell broke loose because we are where the problem is. So his body was broken. He took the bread and he broke it. This is my body broken for you. If he was going to continue that sentence so that you could take my whole body and I will take your broken body. It's an exchange. Then he said, he took the cup and he said, this is my blood of the new covenant. So we're under a covenant. What is it? It's the law, the Mosaic law, the 10 Commandments applied to you and me. Hello, wake up, okay? This is my blood of the new covenant. So now something for us has replaced the old covenant, which is the 10 Commandments. Okay? So this is my blood of the new commandment, given for you unto the remission of sins. So your sins are gone. Do this often, remembering me, meaning remembering what he did for us. That's the purpose of communion. That's the crux of the whole thing with Jesus. When you go to Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism or anything-ism, Jehovah's Witness-ism, Mormon-ism, any of those, okay, that do not have the body and the blood of Jesus, that's where the work was done. Okay, how did my sins leave? It wasn't by Samantha on Bewitched, tinkle, 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 okay? That is not what made the sins go. It was him on the cross. It was his blood. My sins were put on him, and he died with my sins. They're dead. So technically there is no sin. It was paid for, okay? Now, the obvious question as human lustful beings like me, okay, does that mean I could do anything I want? Hell no. Come on, dude. You were after this girl, you think she's gorgeous, okay? Obla-dee, obla-da, life goes on, brah. So tell me, what was Desmond and Molly's last name? It's in the song, okay? Brah, la, 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 life goes on. All right, so we find a girl, we create a family. So now when you find a girl and you marry her, you have free license to abuse her now? Is that what you got? You can slap the shit out of her and you can have sex without permission, and that's the relationship that marriage is? You know better than that. I do too, okay? No, and that's the relationship we enter in with Jesus. That doesn't mean we can sin like hell. That means we can love like Jesus, and we could try to please him. We have to remember that the cross is a big exchange. If you don't think of it as a big exchange, you'll always be walking looking over your shoulder. Did I sin? Is God going to slap me down because I sinned? No, it was all paid. Now, you and I will be sensitive. Oh, that's a sin. I need to do better. But it is forgiven, okay? So that's not freedom to go rob a bank. It's not freedom to go rape. It's not freedom to abuse a child, okay? It's freedom to learn to love your wife more in real life. It's freedom to learn to love your God more, Jesus, in real life, all right? So when you look at any religion, when they come up and talk to you, if it's not centered around what Jesus did on the cross, it's fake, okay? or it is not God's new covenant. It's in an old covenant, like the Judaism, okay? The Jewish religion is in the Old Testament, and it's the old covenant, meaning you have to live up to those laws. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. That's under the old covenant. But when you go into Christ, this is my blood at communion. This is my blood of the new covenant. Of the new covenant. So when someone, even your own spouse or your best friend, tries to put the old covenant on you, they're not doing you any favors. Well, I believe you shouldn't be doing this. Well, you're probably right. Okay? And this is where the big fight with homosexuality comes into play. So I'm not a proponent for homosexuals, but I am a proponent that either Jesus died for all sins or he lied. Because he said he died for all sins. So is homosexuality a sin? Well, if it's a sin, he died for it. If it's not a sin, why are we hammering them for it? So what the clear sin is when they live promiscuously. But you could do that in the heterosexual. A boy can come and date your girl, your little girl, take her out on a date and rape her. Sin, okay? Same thing with the gay lifestyle. So you got to choose if it's a sin or if it's not a sin. That's a choice you have to make, okay? If it is a sin, the sin was paid for. If it's not a sin, then set them free. But that doesn't free us from people that are preaching homosexuality, okay? They're called activists. That type of a thing is a sin because you're pushing another form of sexualness on another human being. I don't hear people go out and go, you got to get laid 3 times a week. We're the 3 times a week laid people. And I don't see marches in the street with, they do rainbows for the gay, with leprechauns. We believe in getting laid 3 times. That's preaching a sexual act. Is there something wrong with that? Well, we kind of agree with it. We'd like to get laid 3 times a week, okay? But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is we are not pushing a certain sexual act on the general public, okay? And when people do that, which includes having sex change operations, and they march in the streets about that, there's something wrong with that. Sex is usually a private thing. If you haven't noticed, I don't see too many people, except those that get off on it, doing sex in public, okay? What do they call those kind of people that like to go out and show off, and they want to get caught, okay? There's a word for it. Honestly, I can't think of it. But it's a private thing, okay? So if gay is not a sin, we'll go down that road for 5 seconds, then preaching about it is wrong. Because I don't hear preaching about straight sex. It's a thing that is done in the auspices of a bedroom, hotel room, or the back of your car. But it's not anything other than guys at a certain age boasting. It's childish. When you grow up, it's something you enjoy. And with your wife, it's supposed to be. But if you're not married and you're having sex, then it's also, it's a private thing. So when they become public about it, that's called activism. And I think any kind of activism like that is just plain wrong. Okay? And that is why we as a church have not been trained how to process all this stuff. You either have a church pastor or preacher that is condemning all homosexuals and they're going to hell because the Bible says God hates homosexuality, and it does say that, but there's a comma after that. There's more after that sentence. Okay? So it doesn't end with that sentence. In that same sentence, he also says he hates gluttons. When I eat 2 bowls of ice cream, guess what? That's a glutton. It says he hates liars and fearful. Okay? Have I lied? I kind of lie sometimes to be helpful here or honestly there, or, you know. And when I do, I really feel it in my heart, okay? So the Holy Spirit's inside of us. So James, you turned it into a church. It's your fault. So whoever didn't like me preaching, you go and you complain to church. It's like Sunday night, and that's where we go to church. All right, guys. I didn't mean to get off into my side things there, but I think it's important that we re-examine a lot of things, okay? So I know a lot of the presidents of the United States have been promiscuous, but the President Trump that we have now, they like to hone in on that. But Clinton getting a blowjob in the White House, yeah, he's a man. What do you expect? But Clinton, before he was president, before he was anything, he went into a trailer and had sex. And it's like, oh, wait, we're not electing a president. We're electing a preacher for the country. No, it's people use things for their own benefit. I do that myself, so I'm not perfect, guys. All right? So this is why we have to have an understanding that, yeah, we need to call out sin, but real sin, not sin because I can't stand of thinking of two men together. It just irritates the hell out of me. Therefore, any preacher that preaches, bam, against that, I'm with that preacher. That is not Christianity, okay? And then you've got people that try to hide that, and they go like, we're trying to make the gospel acceptable to people today. We're trying to make it more friendly and accepting things into the church that shouldn't be. You know damn well they're talking about gays. We're trying to tell people to accept gays. Gay is a personal, sexual, private activity, okay? What's not a personal, sexual, private activity is when you march down the street with rainbow flags, with either a thong or naked, or what do they call those things at the beach? Quick, Speedo, and you're trying to show your balls off, okay? That is not a personal, private, sexual activity. That is a sin. Because you're blatantly exposing yourself, all right? I'd like to hear a real good sermon about that, honestly, instead of a sermon of all gays are going to hell, okay? All gays are going, the Bible says if a man lays with a man, okay? Well, you've never gone camping and everybody, two in a tent? Man laying with a man? Boy laying with a boy? So it means something there. But they use it to their convenience, okay? So what I really think it means, I think, because I'm Greek and I know the Greek history, is an older man would often take a boy, 8, 9, 10 years old, take him under his wing to train him, and it would include sexual training, okay? That disrupts the normal growth pattern of a child, boy or girl. You're supposed to discover sex on your own in your privacy. Jesus was public all the way up until the age of 12. Everything that happened was recorded. From the age of 12, nothing is recorded. So you don't think Joseph and Mary knew they had the Son of God living under their roof? Let's keep a journal on what the hell is going on? No. All the growing up process of Jesus, God stripped it out of the Bible. The last thing you hear about Jesus is at 12 years old when he said, don't you know I have to be about my Father's business? That's out of his mouth. After that, there's nothing recorded. What about the death of his stepfather? Because God is his father, okay? What about the training he got he's known as a carpenter? Who taught him carpentry? It was his stepdad or his earthly dad. You don't think Jesus hit his thumb with the hammer? Do you think he hit the thumb with the hammer and he went, Oh, Jesus Christ! No, he didn't do that. Or he didn't use the F word either. But none of that's recorded. What about his first date? Did he go on a first date? Okay. What about when he went and experienced something new, like going to church? Couldn't that be recorded? Nothing. He was put under privacy, and children should be put under privacy. They need to be free to grow up and discover themselves without assholes running around there telling them and teaching them sex change operations. If you want to be a dog today, if you want to be a girl and go in the girls' room, or you want to be a boy and go in the boys' room, if you're the other, all these people are teaching kids, they're taking away what should be discovered naturally. Okay? The natural growth process was practiced by God himself. The next time you hear about Jesus was not 21 years old. It was not 25 years old. The next time you hear about Jesus was at 30 years old. So the age of 12 to 30, complete silence. Okay? God protected his son. Wouldn't you protect your son or your daughter, your grandchild? I know some people here that have grandchildren that just love them to no end. They love them to life. I was going to say love them to death, but we don't do death. They love them to life. They would protect that grandchild. My own priest, as I was growing up, and we had that Anita Bryant thing here. He said, and so I asked him, I expected him to, be like every other preacher, pound on the gays, okay? He said, if my son was gay, I'd put it under the covers. I wouldn't go and tell everybody in the church, in the congregation. I would protect him to no end. So he said, a true parent has these feelings. And I have two childhood friends that I've been friends from 12 years old. And make it 3. I just thought of another one, okay? And one of them, their son, everything was fine. At 19, 20 years old, he flipped and he became gay. So I got a phone call. Is my child, this is a first cousin, okay? Is my child going to hell? I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. He's like, I can't believe he likes men. And he's dating this boy, okay? And I said, well, you've got 2 choices. Do you want to lose him as a son because you think you're so right about gays? Or do you want to keep him as a son? Yeah, but I can't have that in my house. And I said, well, think of it if he got involved with a girl. Could he bring that girl in the house and screw her in his bedroom? Hell no! No difference. There's rules that apply to your house. Okay? So, unless your son becomes a gay preacher, and I don't mean a preacher of the gospel, I mean a preacher like, everyone should be gay, okay, that's a preaching. That is activism. Activism needs to be squelched, okay? Free choice needs to be allowed, okay? So, because God allows it. I don't see people becoming gay and lightning hitting them. And some people will say, well, that's what AIDS was, a punishment. God doesn't use sickness as a punishment. We get sick because we do things that make us sick. Like smoke cigarettes and get cancer. Okay? You don't smoke cigarette and God strikes you dead because you'll get cancer. So it's a very awkward line. I was going to say a fine line. It's an awkward line. You can't become completely accepting, oh, there's a gay parade going down the street. Let's go bang the drums and join them. No, I don't see straight parades. Why should there be gay parades? Okay, you celebrate your sexuality in your circle of friends when you share. And in your, I'm going to use the word bedroom, your place of having sex in the privacy of your own circle. That's where it's supposed to be taught to all of our kids. And I think a lot of the adults need to learn that too. Okay? Some just take things way too public. Okay, so what can I tell you? Personally now, I'll talk about me. Am I gay? No, I'm not. Do I like girls? Yes, I do. Okay, that's my own personal, as the counselor told me, my arousal algorithm. What makes me react? It's not pictures of dicks, I can tell you that right now. Now, I don't think I would preach that in a church, but it's not naked pictures of men. I can tell you that right now. I'll look at it and say, put some clothes on, dude. Just like I would look at a naked girl and say, put some clothes on, especially if she's 90 years old. Okay, I made a joke. I shouldn't have, all right? I apologize, all right? But you get my drift? That's what I'm talking about. So the church has put a whole class of people into this little corner, call them bad. Now you got politicians, unless you come out pro-gay or anti-gay, you're not going to get their vote because the church has taught us incorrectly, okay? Find out what God thinks. Honestly, here's what you do. If you think I'm wrong, okay, you don't try to prove me right because I do the same thing I'm about to suggest to you, okay? If you think I'm wrong, you get into a prayer session, meaning a long period of time where you seek God out on it so that you can know the truth. Okay? It's not so you can go out and beat people up. I had to do that, you know why? Because I get a lot of people that will hook up with me because I'm live on the air. I have the big channel that's got 35,000 or more. People start to talk to me. I always go in a Christian vein. That's part of who I am. It's not because I'm trying to make everybody think the way I think. I want to know, where do you stand on Jesus? Because if I can be helpful to see you in heaven for eternity, I'm going to try. But if you go like, I don't love Jesus, I hate him, I'm going to respect your choice. Because God's respecting it. And I'm not higher than God. There's people that actually hate Jesus. To convert to Islam, you have to renounce Jesus. That's part of the thing that brings you into Islam. There's a ritual. That's where it talks in the end times, the mark of the beast, and they think it's an actual thing. Well, it could be, but it's also, if the world leaders at that time become Islam and they force you into that, you're going to have to renounce Christ as God. If you do that, how can you have salvation? God says you won't go to heaven if you do that. Okay? So the devil has this all sewn up, and the unfortunate part is he has Christians sewn up. So instead of going out and preaching, we need to love all people. I'm not going to love a person's actions of raping women or raping men. Okay? I'm not going to love the actions of molesting children. That's just plain wrong. I don't know how far we have to go to realize that's wrong. But a person to choose, okay, a different sexual lifestyle, and they're not an activist, it's just that's what I am. Okay? I'm not going to put it in your face. I'm not going to come to your birthday party wearing a thong, going, I'm gay, oh boy. No, if you do that, your ass is going to get kicked out on the street. Okay? That's promiscuousness. Not allowed. Okay? But the church doesn't teach us that. They go straight to the all gays are going to hell. Okay? I don't think Jesus had 4 gospels. Matthew, do I have to tell them to you? Seriously? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Do you think when he fed the 5,000 people and their wives and their children, which would have brought that up to 15,000, that he would have at least acknowledged, I'm not going to bring food from heaven to give it to the gays. All the gays, sit over there. Get out of the line. He fed them all. He had 4 gospels to really hammer the gays. You know what he hammered? He hammered adultery, where you take a wife that trusts you, loves you, gives her heart and her life to you. The same thing in reverse for a husband. You trust your wife, you love her, you give your heart to her, you betray them by getting intimate with somebody else. He hammered that quite a bit. Okay? So he could have very easily and you guys that are hooking up with guys, what's up with that? 4 opportunities, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And he didn't do it. Okay? The same for masturbation. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, not mentioned. Yet the church will raise that up so high that it makes the young people cringe or not want to be there, instead of telling them what's the honest things about that. Okay? So when you hear this stuff in church and you don't agree, just lean back, relax. If it's really going to bother you, then maybe you need to change churches. Okay? If it's going to actually, it's okay, let it slide, then you have to let it slide. And that's what I feel about that. All right? So you think I listened long enough? I talk long enough so I can hear if there's any noise in here? Well, it is Sunday night, so I kind of gave myself permission to let loose a little bit. I honestly have to tell you something. I really don't mean to offend anybody. If what I said is offensive to the point where you're going to get actually angry, then forgive me. I'm asking for forgiveness. I'm not going to change what I think. And the last time I looked, it is my show. So I can talk about my show. I did not introduce anything hateful. All right? If a person chooses to go in a completely different thought pattern, I'm not God. I learned that a long time ago. Okay? So there we go. And like Sammy just put here, there's still a little bit of noise. Well, I'm going to live with that, Sammy. I don't think there's a thing I can do. Not a thing in the... Yeah, there is one thing, but I can't do it, and I'll tell you why. I can go over here in Ecamm. I can hit this puzzle, which did nothing. Oh yeah, it opened up a window. I can click on noise reduction, and 3, 2, 1, click. Okay, now I have noise reduction. And I can leave it like that, except for one thing. When I have noise reduction on, watch what happens to my music. It messes it up. So I'm going to turn on the other mic. Okay, it's on. Oh, the battery's low. Thank you. She's a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll. It's trying to squelch the reverb. Hello, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Okay, now I'm going to turn that noise reduction off. Now it's off. I'm going to come back and hear the difference. I think it tries to recognize the reverb as noise and makes it very unpleasant, but I'll hear it for myself. Praise God, praise God, praise God. Okay, so now we're back to the lav mic. The noise suppression is off. I'm going to turn it on. So I can't assign it to a specific channel. If I could, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay? I have to assign it to the entire audio chain. So I'm going to listen and see if the noise reduction clobbered the reverb. If it did, then I can't use it. That's the way it is. So the noise reduction is on right now. So I was quiet for about 5-6 seconds. And I can actually go and look if I can make it even milder and for it to actually work. But I can't read, the letters are too small. Remember? Sammy, are you still here? The letters are too small for me to read. Does that sound familiar to you? Okay, so the noise cancellation is on. I'm going to turn it off so that I don't forget that it's on. But I will research that out a little bit. All right, guys, I had a good time. It's time to go bye-bye. Let's see if I can find a movie and a bowl of ice cream and have a good time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for not getting pissed off at me. If it was something that was positive, hey, that's terrific. All right. Love you guys. Bye.